and welcome to Sustainable Prepping, your home for fear-free emergency preparedness and a sustainable life. My name is Becky, and today we're talking about something that is close to my heart, something that I'm passionate about, and I'm hoping you are too, and that is, can you be a feminist homemaker? Yes, can you be a feminist and a homemaker? Are those things mutually exclusive? If you know the format of any of my Can You Be videos, you know that my answer is usually no. You can be both. But we're going to jump into what makes that challenging and what the pitfalls are and why I believe that feminist homemaking is actually a really important thing, both for emergency preparedness and for sustainable living. If you're new here, I want to say a great big welcome, especially if you are new from Park Rose Permaculture or if you are finding me specifically for this topic on feminist homemaking. I really am glad you're here. I'm building a community of people who are dedicated to living more sustainable lives and being prepared for emergencies, but to do it from a place of calm and confidence and not fear. I'm also here to create a space for progressive-minded individuals to learn about emergency preparedness, learn about homesteading, and not have to choke down politics that feel uncomfortable or untrue for them. So I'm glad you're part of this community. For those of you who've stuck by me this whole time, I want to say welcome back. I truly am grateful for you. We are beginning Vlogmas. This is Vlogmas number 1, and I am so excited to start off with this somewhat controversial maybe, or kind of hot topic, at least to me, a topic that I see almost nothing about online. I have been looking for a community, and I am so excited to be just throwing it out there and seeing what you think. I am interested in whether or not we can have feminist homemaking. Now, like my videos on whether or not you can be a liberal pepper, and I'll make sure it's linked up above in the eye in the sky, and I will make sure that several videos are linked down below in the description so you can find them in both places. I do believe that you can be really any identity if you do the work, right? You can be a feminist homemaker, you can be a liberal prepper. Those things are not mutually exclusive. One is a personal identity and one is the stuff that you do, right? I'm a feminist and I'm a homemaker, so therefore I'm a feminist homemaker. But when we think about homemaking, and if you look up homemaking communities online, they are almost exclusively highly traditional, anti-feminist communities that seek to keep women hemmed into the home. It's not that the home is one option among many. It is the only valid option, usually for someone who's a person of faith or who holds particular political values. And I want to push against that. So I didn't grow up ever thinking I would be a homemaker. I enjoy working, and I think it's incredibly important that women are financially stable. I grew up in an environment where I had aunts that, well, I had an aunt whose husband left her after 10 years, and they had a toddler, and he wanted to do some extramarital relations, and she was left with no financial resources and very few skills to support herself and her child. That experience taught me that it was important for women to make money. Even women in really healthy, happy partnerships, women should always have access to their own financial gain, right? They need to have access to their own finances. A society in which women are completely financially reliant on men is a society in which women are vulnerable to all kinds of abuses. Just ask Beyonce's mom. The point here is that I never thought I would even have kids, let alone have 4 of them, and I never thought I would be happy as a homemaker. And yet I'm really enjoying being able to manage this very extensive work of being at home, managing lots of home cooking and working on growing our homestead, looking for a home that can be our long-term homestead, looking for ways to support my kids and driving them to things and being present and keeping our house tidy. All of that is stuff I really enjoy, with a caveat that I have no intention of homeschooling at this point because I do need breaks in the day from my kids. So homeschooling is kind of a separate category. I am enjoying homemaking, and I'm enjoying turning this apartment townhouse that we live into a home that feels welcoming and warm and cozy. And I can tell the difference in my family with me home managing all of that. Our stress level is down. The kids don't argue as much. We're all generally happier. But at the same time, we need my financial resources. I'll be going back to work in January on a 3/4 time basis. Now, I will be able to be home during most of the normal weekday hours, but I will be working a couple of days on the weekend and a couple of nights. So it's going to be a non-traditional hours job, but it's going to still be work that takes me away from the home. What I've learned being a homemaker for the last 4 months is that homemaking is a lot of work, and it's unappreciated work. One of the things that is important to note is that all of this labor, all the making homemade bread and cooking food from scratch and preserving and canning and tidying and cleaning and decorating, all of that is labor. and it's unpaid labor. And it's labor that has traditionally fallen on women as valuable, but not financially valuable. Now, there's all these different caveats, and I think we can open this conversation and pull apart these pieces. But what I want to know is, what role does feminism play in homemaking, and can we reconcile our belief that women are totally capable of having careers with the belief that people, individuals, regardless of gender, may want to stay home and manage homes? And that's really valuable work. That unpaid labor of managing homes, of managing children, of managing elder care is really valuable, even if it's not financially lucrative. I think that we need to have a conversation about whether homemaking is so tied to this like 1950s oppressive women as kind of decorative pieces who only serve their families, right? This kind of, to me, very unhealthy ideal, this keeper at home ideal that I don't actually think is valuable and I don't think is biblical, but it's important that this is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like home management, home economics, somebody who can manage a grocery bill so that you're not leaning into convenience foods and trading money for time. Someone that can manage a homestead, because I do believe that we're going to need to have lots more small scale homesteads, like just to survive the future climate crisis that's coming in the next 20 years. I think we also need people who are doing the unpaid labor of community building. But, if everybody's working 40 hours a week, who has time for that? I also think that we need to have homes that are warm and inviting, and we need to remember what a home feels like. That's not just like a dorm where you drop your stuff and then leave again. For so many people, that's all a home is. It's a place for your stuff that it's there for when you aren't out doing other things. And that's okay if that's a lifestyle you want, but like that's not a home. And I want to create a home. I'm hungry for this conversation because all of the people who are talking about homemaking are coming at it from a very traditionalist standpoint. And I radically disagree with the traditionalist standpoint. I don't think you have to be a woman to be a homemaker. In fact, I know several men who chose to stay home and raise children until they got into school age while their wives pursued more lucrative careers. The men were very happy to stay home, maybe to work part-time doing some IT things, but to manage the household because their wives had more drive, their wives were better in their careers, were stronger in their careers, and it was just the right partnership for them. I know gay couples in which one man stays home and the other man goes out and works, and they're very happy with that setup. The point is, I don't think gender or sex has anything to do with one's skill in homemaking. Most of the skills of homemaking, like tidying and cooking and laundry and gardening, those are all like totally non-gendered, and everybody should know how to like wash their own laundry and cook some meals, right? So what takes homemaking and levels it up from just like cleaning and cooking and maybe some interior design? I don't know, but there's something there, some intentionality, some cultivation of a home culture, management of more than just the affairs of the house, but the heart of the house. And we've lost a lot of that. One of the only people I find talking about that online at all from a progressive perspective is Angela over at Parkrose Permaculture. And you guys have seen me mention her several times. She's the only one who I think is having these conversations. And so I hope that she and I and others can be having a meaningful conversation about what options are there for someone who is a progressive, a liberal, a feminist, who believes in the equality of all people, regardless of their gender identity, sexual orientation, race, ability, nation of origin, and religion, right? All of these isms that can limit us. How do we take somebody who radically believes in equality and equity and say that they are actually, there's real value in this unpaid labor of homemaking? And this unpaid labor, we need to figure out a way to help those people have access to their own finances so we don't ever get back in this trap of the homemaker being dependent on the breadwinner. How do we create collaboration? How do we create community? I'm proposing a lot of questions that I don't have the answer to, but I'm proposing them to you at the beginning of Vlogmas at the end of 2022 because I want us to be thinking about this through the holidays as you think about how you're organizing your home for the winter holidays ahead, how you're cooking, how you're tidying, how you're decorating, how you're doing all of that, the labor of all of that. If you aren't the one managing that, who is? Or who managed it in your house growing up, and how much labor is that? And is it valuable? And why is it valuable? I want us to think about sustainable low-waste options, but how we're trading convenience for time. And if we need to start trading convenience for time and putting more labor in, that means somebody is going to have to stop working a 40-hour-a-week job. What does that mean for us in the future? I want us to think about this intersection of community as well as organizing and unpaid labor, and what that means for creating homes and communities, and who's going to be doing that. If all of the former stay-at-home moms are now working moms, who does that work? These are questions that I've been thinking about a lot as I've been a stay-at-home mom for the last 4 months, and I have found that I have loved it. Now, I am hungry to go back to work. I'm hungry to talk to other adults. I'm hungry to get out of the house and to put my intellectual drive back into some work. So I'll be starting work in January, like I said, on a part-time basis, but I will still primarily be at home during the week. I'll be picking up my girls every day after daycare. I'll be home when the boys get home from school. I'll be cooking our meals. I'll be tidying the house. Those will still be my primary responsibilities. I will just also work on top of that. And how do I do that with a sense of joy? How do I create a sustainable home? As I am identifying more and more as a homemaker or a home manager or a home economist, I'm not quite sure what the right term is. I'm open to suggestions. If you have gone through this, if you are someone who is progressive, if you identify as a feminist, but you've also been or are a homemaker, I would love to hear, what are your thoughts on identity and holding these pieces together, and where are you finding community? Because that has been a very challenging piece for me. I am so excited. I hope I am not the only one who's hungry for a conversation on feminist homemaking. I hope that I am not the only one who is excited to talk about this, because I know that I just believe that I am not the only person, and I am so hungry for a community, and I am hoping that this is a place where we can start building that little niche of a community. If you're here for emergency preparedness, don't worry, this will not take over the channel. This is just a part of an ongoing conversation I'm opening. If you are interested in finding me and continuing this conversation, of course, down in the comments, but you can also find me on Instagram at sustainable_prepping. You can find me over in our Facebook group. All the information is linked down below. And as a special gift to you, if you are interested in either my course or my inventory bundle, I am giving you 30% off through the end of 2022. 30% off, either, both. They are for you as a gift. I am so grateful. The coupon code is here, and you can also see it linked down in the description box. I hope that we can keep chatting about this. I hope that we can keep having meaningful conversations. And until the next video, it's Vlogmas, so I will see you tomorrow. Happy prepping.